Hello, this is Tom from the shop on Ash. I am going to do a series of videos on constructing or assembling a baseball bat bench. I had a customer who ordered one of these. He backed out. He wanted me to send it to ship to assemble. It's an easy process for me. If you're going to assemble a bench, it always helps to have a helper. I think we could go in that direction, but I'm going to do the selfie thing. And here, I got my famous audience here. There's Manny, Mo, and Curly. I got to work on the state flag for Curly, okay. And what I'm going to do, I label everything, and I'm going to do the right arm and leg section first. And I have right here, upside down, right arm, leg bats. I have 4 bats, and I have the bolts to attach, which I pin the bats together. And everything is labeled to which bolts go into which section and which holes in which bats. Okay, what I have here, this is going to be universal for everything. If you ever decide to order a bench, every bat is labeled. I label them the same. I have R4, kind of right. It's hard to see, but it's in there. You'll be able to see a couple of them. It's kind of right there. But I'm going to assemble here R4. R3, R2, and R1, and that's because of the right hand bats and baseballs. This one is R1, and my strategy is it's when you have the baseball bench together like an Adirondack bench with an arm, this is going to be the right arm. Okay, and R1 is going to stand up like this, and we'll assemble as we go. This would be R2. And this might be easier to see this one, and okay, and I guess that eliminates R3. Would be this one here, and I've actually labeled that on the barrel end right here. Most of these bats are cupped. These were game-used Yankees bats from the single A, so this is a Yankees theme. I do a lot of generic ones, and so what I have here is the bolt section, and I'll put it in right arm leg hardware. I have a total of 5 nuts and bolt sections. There are some different kinds of bolts that I'll explain just with this assembly, but it's pretty much universal with any one that you assemble. And my goal at this point for tools, I just have a hammer to tap everything in. I don't really need to tap with 3 of them, just 2 of them. And these are 1/4-inch bolts, and they have a 7/16 nut. And then what I have are some unique bolts. You'll see these on your carport floor. You'll see these like in beds or futons, to where it puts it together to where you don't have the end of a bolt sticking out like this. So I use these for sitting so your arm doesn't snag when you do it. It's a strategy. And so what I'm going to do is the first one is R1 is going to stand. I have a strategy of having the labeling of the bat face out to the right side. And we're going to attach R2 to R1. So I go in, I find my bolts. I actually have everything labeled. This is R1 to R2, and you might end up just using basic bolts, and that's about a 2 1/4 inch or maybe a 1 1/4 inch. And because I'm using these futon style connectors, the connector is a little larger than the 1/4 inch diameter of the bolt. And so this is going to be R2 to R1, and this is where a helper would be helpful. I have 2 sets of holes right here in R1, and you're going to put R2 into R1 in the lower hole, and then you have 2 holes here. You're going to use the back hole closest to the knob of R2, and you're going to go on the outside like this on R1. And I have the thicker part, the female part of this connector bolt is going to go in here. It's a larger diameter hole, and because I have custom cut these bolts, it's sort of a feel by to try to get this hooked up and hooked in. And let me see if you can see all of this. I can't see this far away. I'm getting too old for this kind of stuff. And also with R2 and the labeling of the baseball bat, this logo, the Louisville Slugger logo, is face up with this Yankee. So what you have is that. It would help to have a helper who could hold that while you're attaching, but you can see I'm doing it myself. I don't have a professional workshop. I used to be the shop on Ash, and I had a nice workshop, and now I'm the carport on 47th place. Okay, so R1, R2 like this. You're going to see this is the arm you rest your elbow on. Now what I'm going to do is put R3 attach to the second inner hole of R2. And R3 is this one, and make sure you have your labeling up. And then I'm going to find the bolt section, the R2 to R3. And this is actually a similar size from the R1 to R2. You can mix and match those for the length these are. And this is another one of the connector bolts. And what you're going to do is put the female side into the handle side of R3, and you're going to come through to R2. This is another, it would be easy to have a helper. I think my helper's in there watching television right now. And obviously to do this, there is a little challenge, but if I can do it, you can do it, and I'm not going to do a professional video editing for that. I dropped the ball. I dropped the bat. Okay. Okay, and this one is a little bit of a challenge. We are going to get this, and I'm going to keep that video running until I get it. Is that it? And that is it. And what I have is a special type of a driver. This is a 532 hex bolt that is you're gonna end up tightening with this. And next up is the fourth bat. This is going to be another challenge with the connector bolt, and this is going to be the fourth bat, R4, and you're at first going to connect it up top. I have this labeled. It's R2 to R4. You take off your tape and throw it on the carport ground. I don't have a garbage here. And this is kind of a unique specialty. What you're going to do, this is going to be with the logos like you see face out. I'm going to have that logo this way, and you're going to keep it on the inside of R3, but it's going to come to the outside of R1. And what you're going to do is come in, and I got to get the female part off. The female part of this is going to go into the handle of R4, and then you're going to fit the longer section of that bolt in through this way, and then kind of hand tighten and retrofit. And let's see if we get this one done. And that one's going in fine. And like the third one, and just, you don't need to tighten all the way. Get it like that. And now my next connection is going to be from R3 to R4, and I have a strategy with this. And what I have here is your basic carriage bolt with the fat head, and I'll come up and kind of give you a look. And that's going to go on, the head is going to go on the inside, and it's going to feed through. Now, you have two holes in the R4 bat. You need to go into the lower hole. The upper hole I will explain in a different part of assembling this bat bench. And you're going to go into this hole in R3. This had a thicker drill through, so I do have a washer. And I just hand tighten this. Yeah, this one hasn't been cut, and it should just be an easy thread on there, and I still dropped the ball. Okay. Alright, we got that, and now the last, in the fifth bolt section, to go into the fourth baseball bat, this is the last one you're going to feed, is another carriage bolt. And it doesn't matter right now, I'm just doing this for instruction, but I can't seem to get this tape off of these from the labeling. And what I do, it's something, the only protruding piece on this is going to be this nut right here. What I'm going to do is take the head of this carriage bolt, go through, this is going to be the outside of the bench, and it's going to go from, this is R4 and it's going to go into R1. And you got to move things around, and a lot of building these benches is maneuvering things. And then I'm going to hand tighten this. And then what I do from there is I can just use my finger on the other side of these. I have the 532 nut driver, and I'm going to tighten all of these up like that. Oh. And then the reason I have the hammer is to tap in if it doesn't fit that well, and tap in on the head of the carriage wheel. That one needed a little tap, and then we can hand tighten this a little bit. And what I have here is you can use a crescent wrench, and this would be a 7/16 wrench, and just tighten like this, and go back to this other side, tighten like this, and what you have is your right arm and leg section. And I hope that comes out okay. I should have probably moved it there. I'm going to come over here and have a spot for the next one to do the left hand arm leg section, okay? And there we go. We got the first section. We'll go to the next video, and thank you.